Welcome to Broadstairs Life, where I speak with the people who make Broadstairs such a special place. And we're going to talk about all things Grade 2 listed buildings in Broadstairs, and I'm sure lots of other things as well. So I'm quite looking forward to this. So Sue, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, I was born in London, but I've always had a family connection to Thanet because my grandmother lived here before the First World War. And so during the 50s, we always used to come on holiday to basically Cliftonville. So I knew Thanet. Then in 1962, my parents and my grandmother moved to Broadstairs. So I went to school here. And then in 1968, I left the area, joined the WRAF, and went and lived in lots and lots of different places all around Britain and some overseas as well. And then in 1985, I finally moved back to Broadstairs and have lived here ever since. So I trained to teach English to speakers of other languages at Hildeston College. And then I started work at Kent School of English. Well, it was supposed to be a 3-week temporary job during the summer.
Did it go on a bit longer?
30 years.
Quite long, yeah.
Just a bit longer.
Just a little bit longer.
So I actually ended up working there until I retired. And that was absolutely wonderful. Fabulous job. Really enjoyed it. Yeah. Met amazing people.
I was about to say, you must have met lots of lovely people.
Yes. And what was so interesting was to see Broadstairs through the eyes of foreign visitors.
Yeah.
The school has incredible loyalty. I think some of the groups are now third-generation group leaders. So much loyalty. Hearing what they said about the town, and they were always so positive. That's one of the reasons, obviously, they liked the school and what we did, but they also loved the town. And they were constantly amazed by what a small town did.
And there is a lot that goes on here, isn't there?
I mean, the food festivals, the folk week, the Dickens week, all the live music in the pubs. So much going on. And the fireworks. A lot of them came from quite big towns or cities, mainly Europe. And they said, we don't put on anything like this. And here you are, a little coastal... Welcome to Broadstairs, indeed.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that was really, really lovely. That was a very significant
the
part
other
of the
thing
job,
I
really.
noticed, you're a big volunteer, aren't you? You like volunteering.
I think volunteering is just part of my life. I can't imagine my life without volunteering.
Yeah.
I started at school, and it wasn't just to get out of double hockey in the winter.
Right, okay.
I really had library books to sort out. I volunteered at school, and then all my adult life I volunteered. Obviously, I've moved around a lot, so some of it's been in UK, some abroad, local small charities or national charities.
Because you are a current member, though, aren't you, of the Broadstairs Town Team?
Oh, yes.
Which is a really positive organisation for here, isn't it?
Oh, it's wonderful. I've been a member of Broadstairs Town Team since it started. But there was something before that called Brush Up Broadstairs.
Oh, really?
Yes, and we painted the breakwater on the jetty.
Now, you saying that, when I've only been here for like just 10 years, and I got involved with doing that.
Oh, really?
They wanted people to paint the jet, and I thought, that sunny day, lovely.
It was great. And that was a really good example of how volunteering works. It was a lovely team effort.
Yeah.
I mean, there were 2 shifts, wasn't there? There was an afternoon shift and an evening shift.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
and there we all were stopping this. black gloop all over the breakwater.
No.
That was Brush Up Broadstairs. And then when the town team started, I started on.
That's when I did it
there.
then.
Yeah,
I loved it. It was great.
I'm
Great.
still very active in the garden group.
Good.
So yeah, all the lovely gardens that we manage in Broadstairs, and have won prizes in the RHS It's Your Neighbourhood.
Yeah.
Which is lovely recognition for the work that we've done, taken very derelict sites and turning them into something very beautiful, which the town is very proud
do you
of.
know what? It's such a lovely thing.
And people comment on it, and it's lovely volunteering to do. A, you're outside. B, you're with like-minded people.
Yeah.
And you get lovely feedback from passers-by. They'll stop and say, well. Often
It's a little bit like with the community payback guys when you walk by and you just say thanks for doing this.
Yes, and that
they
means
really
a lot.
appreciate that.
Exactly. That recognition, that gratitude is very important.
Yeah.
So that's really good. And people will say, "Oh, what's the name of that plant?" Or and we actually do on the website have recommendations of plants that thrive in our very specific
we do have
microclimate. Very
climate,
much
don't we?
microclimate.
Yeah.
My particular area of responsibility at the moment is the Albion Street car park.
Oh, right.
Which is not the most glamorous of places to do. But as our last RHS assessor said, you've taken something which could have remained a very utilitarian area and turned it into something very attractive.
Exactly.
And I thought that was a really nice thing for him to say.
I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
Totally agree. Yeah,
But-
it does look nice down there.
Yeah.
Now, big interest in architecture.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have no qualifications in history or architecture.
Mm-hmm.
If any of the jobs that I've subsequently done have been a competition, if you like, that for paid employment, my CV wouldn't even have made the first cut.
Right.
I'd have been on the, I've been in the waste paper basket of the first round. So I'm just a very enthusiastic amateur. I've always been interested in buildings, say, moved around, travelled a lot, always made an effort to go and see interesting buildings wherever I've been. But the involvement in Broadstairs has sort of grown organically, like most of my volunteering. I started off when Broadstairs Town Council first had the idea of having a neighbourhood development plan.
Yes.
I got involved in that, and that was 2014. And then in 2016, there was a subcommittee was formed from the town council, and I became a member of that, a community member. And I suppose, in many ways, my initial interest was in green spaces because I was doing the gardening.
Yeah.
So I started off with green spaces, but then I thought, I'm really interested in local heritage assets.
Yeah.
The buildings.
What draws you to architecture and building? What draws you to it? Is there a specific thing that you love?
Well, I suppose all the different styles, how they reflect different eras, how they reflect people's lives, really. Yes, it's just so interesting, something set in stone, capturing what life was like, 100, 200, 300 years ago.
Can I ask you a question? Mm-hmm. Do you ever touch a building or a part of a building and wonder if you're the first person that's ever... Because I do this. I'm terrible. Mm-hmm. I put my hand in a hole in an old building. I think, am I the first person who's ever done that since it was built?
Yeah.
Because you never know, do you?
No, I don't. But sometimes you see buildings and you think, oh yes, how many people have lived here and what their lives were like, at that time. Yeah, and I mean, I love Broadstairs, obviously. As do all the people that you're interviewing. That's a common thread, isn't it, through all your podcasts. We all love Broadstairs. And obviously the main thing about Broadstairs is the people, the lovely people who are so enthusiastic about the town, do so much for the town, which is great.
Yeah.
And also we have a fabulous coastline.
We do
really,
indeed.
really, but
We do
our
indeed.
7 different bays all the way around the coast. But, the other thing is the buildings.
Yeah.
And for a small town, we have a very high proportion of Grade 2 listed buildings, and they're also very different. And they...
So are these buildings on a register?
Yes.
Is that an important thing?
That's very important.
Yeah.
Historic England has the overall responsibility for deciding which buildings get a Grade 2 listing or a Grade 1 listing.
Yeah. Can I just... on that one, that's an interesting point. How do they decide what is a Grade 1 and what is a Grade 2? Have I thrown you in the deep end there?
Well, you have. I think you have to ask Historic England about that, because I do sometimes wonder.
So they have the final say?
Oh, well, it is totally under their control.
Yeah.
I mean, this is their area of responsibility. And the criteria, yes, I totally agree with you that sometimes I wonder. And even how do some buildings get a Grade 2 star listing as against a Grade 2 listing?
Right.
They've got very, very detailed criteria. I mean, this is their area of expertise.
Yeah.
I mean, for the register that we produced, we were just working from their website. We had no input into that whatsoever. We were just collating and reformatting into a register the work that they had done. The local heritage assets, which is the level down from Grade 2 listed, so they're not nationally listed, they're sort of locally listed, which doesn't give them the same level of protection against development, etc.
Whereas Grade 2 and Grade 1
Oh,
does,
yes. Anyone who has a listed property has to work very, very closely with the conservation.
My friend has a Grade 1 listed place in Faversham.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Quite restrictive.
Very. You can't just say, I'm going to have plastic windows put in here, and I'm going to have a new front door. No. You're very, very... And not just externally, you control what you can do internally as well.
Yeah.
So, people who buy or inherit listed properties are taking on a big responsibility for, our architectural history. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I must say that the owners that I met while doing this project have always been absolutely delightful. They've always been really, really enthusiastic about their properties, really aware of their responsibilities, and they've been an absolute delight to talk to.
So when was the last time the register was updated?
Right. Well, to go back, the Broadstairs Society decided in 1962 that there should be a register, and they did it on Cardex, little cards, with black and white photographs. I've never seen this. I've heard about it, but I've never seen it.
It must be somewhere.
Well, I'd like to think it's somewhere.
Yeah.
So that would be very interesting, because if you look at the overview of the properties that are now listed, a very, very high proportion of them were listed in September 74. September 74, there must have been lots and lots of... Well, it wasn't Historic England at that time, it was English Heritage, I think, going round and, assessing these listed buildings.
That's quite a big job to do, isn't it?
It is. But what I find very interesting is that the write-ups for the buildings that were listed in that big tranche in 74 are quite minimal in their descriptions. I mean, there's one building in Broadstairs which has got one sentence.
Yeah. And And that's it.
And that's it. Human detail. They've become much more human. I mean, we've only got a few in Broadstairs that have been listed, well, very recently, over the past sort of 10, 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
But they have a much more human aspect to them. It's not just the stark details of the windows and the doors and the building material. It's the background. And one of the most surprising buildings is one which I think people drive past so often and have no idea what it is. And it's a barn on the Westwood Road. And you look at it and you think, oh, it's an old barn. But the write-up for it is really interesting because, as they say, it's one of the last remnants of the really sort of agricultural history of Thanet.
Yeah. Is that the one that's near the car dealership and
exactly
on the left?
It's a bit.
It runs parallel, doesn't it? To the...
It does, but the bit that's listed is the first bit. So you've got some houses, and then this particular. But it took me a long time to work out the layout. Is actually at right angles to the Westwood Road.
That's the one. I know, yeah.
It was impossible to take a photograph of. I don't give up easily. I go back and back and back until I get what I think are good condition. But there's always cars parked there, always cars. I thought the only way to sort of try it would be sort of like 5 o'clock on a summer morning and stand in the middle of the road. And I thought, no, I'm not that dedicated. No. So I did cheat. Well, I did take a Google Street View of that.
That's fine, though.
But that's the only one I cheated on it in the whole.
So
register.
this register that's been put together. You mentioned about the Broadstairs Society before we started.
Yeah.
Is this their last sort of thing that's going to happen?
Sadly, it is the final farewell gesture, if you like, of the Broadstairs Society to the town. Very, very sadly, it closed at the end of 24, as have so many other organisations like the Archaeological Society and a WI branch. You know, there have been lots of organisations which have closed over the past few years. So yes, it was quite poignant, really, when we gave the one printed version to the mayor and the town clerk. It was like, you know, this is our final gift from the Broadstairs Society to the town.
And how long did it take to put together?
Much longer than it should have done. It's one of those things that seem like a jolly good idea when you're all sitting around. Oh, you know,
we can do that.
Well, we've done the local heritage assets. Yeah, that piece of cake. Unfortunately, it took a bit longer than that. So yeah, I mean, we started in 22 and we only just finished.
How many houses are on the register? Or how many? I shouldn't say houses. I should say
they're
properties.
buildings. Properties. Yeah. They're 137.
Wow.
Although some of them are a group of houses, so that's a bit is a bit misleading. I haven't. Those are the listings that we've got. So so what we built on this is the Broadstairs Society's version of the 96 one. Yeah. So it's a lever arch folder with an individual entry for each property.
That's huge.
Well, yes. But they just produced printed copies. So one went to KCC, one to TDC, one to the Town Council, and this is the Broadstairs Society one. It was never digitised. It didn't have an index. It didn't have an overview.
Right.
So the thing that took a lot of the time, really, was to get it into the 21st century, really.
An accessible format?
An accessible format. There's a spreadsheet which lists them all, which gives all the details. And the whole thing is digitised, and it is going to go onto the Town Council website.
So the public will be able to look at it.
Absolutely. We didn't do 4 years of work for something to sit in somebody's cupboard.
Definitely not.
We want it to be accessible. Yes, of course, everyone can go to the Historic England website, but in a way you have to know what you're looking for. Whereas if you want to look for something, you can find the entry number here, and you put that into the search, and you go straight to the property.
Wow.
And so, it was... So we went back to basics, and although we basically followed that sort of format, but we created our own format. So every entry is like this. So the factual bit's up at the top.
Yeah. I mean, you're showing me a document here for Piermont Hall, aren't you?
So this will tell you the date that it was listed, the entry number in...
Date of building, 1792.
Yes. Very few have got precise dates.
Yeah.
Most of them are early 19th century, late 18th century.
Yeah.
But, if we could get an accurate date on it, that was nice. And then the dates of the photographs.
Yeah.
So the small team of us, our
and
mission...
this has been your job.
It's obsession, I
Passion.
think some people call it.
Call it a passion.
Passion, probably,
Yeah.
Yes, I must admit, I sort of walk around and say, "Oh, grade 2 listed." Local heritage asset, yes. Get me on mastermind, specialist subject. So we were very, keen to take our own photographs. And so we always had the main photograph. So that was the first page. The second pages were, if there were any additional photographs, nice to put in. And then this...
Princess Victoria's
music room. Yes, which is all part of that complex.
Yeah.
And then the details, and this was all literally copied and pasted from the Historic England website.
And it gives a full description of the building, doesn't it?
Well, yes, it does, but in very specialist architectural terms.
Yeah.
As I say, these early ones don't go into the human aspect, whereas the brown jug is very human.
Really?
Yeah. All sorts of pub.
So in Broadstairs and St Peters, we've got, how many buildings did we say?
137.
137 buildings. Now, what's the earliest building that you have?
Right, the oldest.
The oldest building.
is St Peter's Church, the Parish Church of St Peter the Apostle in Thanet. Which is obviously dates. From the St Peter's Village Tour. You know that it dates from the 11th century.
Exactly.
And the youngest is actually another church. It's the Roman Catholic Church, which was finished in 1961. So that's rather neat because you've got churches bookending the timeline. The oldest listings are 1950s, and they are the very obvious ones, like St Peter's Church and Holland House and Bleak House, I think was the 1950s one, the very obvious ones.
Yeah.
And then, as I said, there was this, obviously, a really big movement in 74. I suspect, although I haven't actually read this, that I think people were getting quite nervous about the scale of destruction in the 60s when, it's an old building, let's knock it down
and build
something new.
Yeah.
And perhaps it was a reaction to that. They're thinking, cool, let's give these buildings some protection. But certainly if you look at the list for Broadstairs, a huge proportion from 74.
Because our buildings do need to be protected, don't they?
Oh, yes.
They have to be.
They are.
They're our history.
Yes. one of your earlier podcasts, I think, was somebody who goes out on a kayak from Viking Bay. And he said
yes.
he really loved going
yes.
out into the bay, looking back and seeing the buildings round Viking Bay. Well, nearly every one of those buildings, from Bleak House to the Charles Dickens pub, are listed. And those that aren't listed are local heritage assets. And as you can see, I've got a lot of books about Broadstairs St Peters History, a bit of a library here. In several of these books, you've got paintings of Broadstairs in the mid-19th century, and you look at it and you think you can recognise all those buildings, and you think, oh, that's just amazing, and that is so much the charm of Broadstairs, and that is something that is really important to preserve, and that is really.
And are most of the buildings along the front Grade 2 or some Grade 1? Does it depend?
No, we haven't got any Grade 1s in Broadstairs.
Grade 1s?
No, Grade 1 is no Stonehenge or Westminster Abbey or something.
Well,
yes, it had to be pretty special.
Yeah.
In fact, I don't think we've got a Grade 1 in Thanet at all. Canterbury Cathedral's Grade 1. St Peter's is Grade 2 star, and that's the highest we've got. So that virtually all of that sweep, the York Gate, going.
See, I love it when people post these old photographs.
Yes, I do too.
And I mean, it's like where I'm in St Peter's, we got some pictures going back so far.
Yeah.
And you just look and you think, well, that's the butchers.
Yeah.
That was this, that was that.
Absolutely.
And you just look at it and you think, wow, it's history.
Yes.
And it's living history.
Exactly. And that is so important. And that is really sort of enshrined in the neighbourhood development plan.
Yeah.
There are policies about the conservation areas, the high townscape value areas, the listed buildings, and the local heritage assets. So that's all in the neighbourhood development plan.
How many conservation areas do we have?
4.
We've got 4.
Yeah. Although when you look at the maps on the TDC website, they actually split Central Broadstairs into north and south. So they've got 5 maps, but there are 4 conservation areas. And they are very important.
And that's Central Broadstairs, St Peters, Reading, obviously Reading Street.
Yes.
And Kingsgate.
Yes.
Now, I notice there's another thing that gets mentioned, which is townscape value.
Yes.
What does that mean?
Again, that is quite clearly defined in the neighbourhood development plan. It's an area which has a certain character for the size of the buildings, the layouts of the buildings, and that character needs to be preserved as much as possible. In a way, it just as you've got 2 tiers for building recognition. So you've got the national listing for the Grade 2 buildings, and then you've got local heritage assets. So with the areas, you've got conservation areas, which obviously high level, but the high townscape values are more local.
Area,
So yes, I mean, as I say, for a small town, we are doing our best to preserve, enhance the built environment.
So the register you've been working on, is that now finished?
Yes, hurrah! Big relief.
And will that be available to the public to look at online?
Yes, it will be. So we gave the hard copy in May to the mayor and the town clerk. So that's now in Piermont Hall. It is available to view by appointment. But while I was doing the administrative side of this, I digitised it, and they do have the whole digitised document, but it's a bulky document, and it is going to go onto their website, and therefore it is going to be accessible, which is great. And I'm hoping that TDC and KCC will also put the digitised versions somewhere. So that if people are interested, then they can look at it, because this is what who knows, in another 30 or whatever years, it's upgraded again. Who knows what format it will be in, but it shouldn't remain just as paper copies in a folder on a shelf. It's got to be accessible.
It should be there for the public.
Absolutely.
To look at and go, oh.
Yes, yeah.
Because you do go, wow, don't you? When you look at places and you go, oh, and you might be out and about. I mean, I'm just going to list some places that you've got here.
Yeah.
You've got Flemish Gables, Sackett's Farmhouse, Stone Farmhouse, Little Upton, Reading Street, the White Swan Cottage, the Roxon Cottage, Flint Walls.
Oh.
At Stonehouse.
Yes.
Talk to me about Flint Walls, because that's fascinating.
Well, okay. Well, yes.
Because we are a very Flint-dominated area,
we
aren't we?
are, and that is so lovely, because you have associations with certain places and their local building materials. So obviously Aberdeen, you think of the granite. And the Cotswolds, you think of that lovely sort of warm sandstone. Yeah. But Thanet, and particularly Broadstairs, is very Flint. And you've actually touched on a sort of a long-term project that is sort of formulating.
Is this for you?
For me, for me, okay. A little personal project. The use of flint of building in Broadstairs. We've actually got, I think it's 4 listed flint walls, which is amazing.
And they're actual walls?
They are actual walls, yes. The Stone House one is amazing, because it starts in Lanthorn Road, up by the Mews at the back of Stone House, wraps all the way down, round the corner, and then goes up Northforeland Road, up towards the lighthouse.
Isn't it?
It's huge. And what is really interesting, and I made a bit of a thing about it when I was taking the photographs and writing about it, is that the front is napped flint, so they've been shaped.
Yeah, they've been shaped,
and very precise and very prestigious. I mean, it's beautiful, beautiful building, very elegant. But as you go sort of round the side and up the back, they didn't put as much effort into it, so some of it is whole.
And are they all constructed? Is it lime mortar?
Yes.
Would it be lime mortar?
Yes. I mean, I hope that the Broadstairs College, in its building training, does do specialist training for...
I did see a guy in Randy Grove who was rebuilding a flint wall. And he was doing it with lime mortar. Yes.
One of the really, really nice people that I met as part of the project, it's somebody that I couldn't get to see their property, even standing on tiptoes with a camera over my head. The wall was too high. All I got was a picture.
You didn't have a big ladder with you? No.
That would have been a bit of a giveaway, wouldn't it? All I could get was a chimney, and I thought, no, that's not doing it justice. So I actually wrote and explained what I was doing. And so they invited me, and I said, look, a couple of minutes, just pop in.
That's all I want, nothing more.
Yeah. Hour and a half later.
You were there.
Because they were so bubbling with enthusiasm, they obviously loved their house, to the extent that the man had gone on a training course for repairing flint and had actually taken a sample of the lime mortar from his property to be analysed so that they knew exactly, because obviously the lime mortar tends to reflect the local sort of conditions. So actually gone to that extent of matching the exact lime mortar that was used in the original build. I thought that was dedication above and beyond, and I was massively impressed. But yes, so you've got... That is the most magnificent flint wall, because it's just so long. But it is interesting that the front is much more detailed and precise, and that go up the it doesn't matter, it's up the back. Nobody's going to see it.
Because you've also got here, it mentions about St Stephen's College.
Yes.
College.
Yes.
You've got Harbour Street, Flint House.
Yes. Flint House has got the walls on either side are listed. The one going down Harbour Street, going down towards the arch, and the one on the other side, the pathway that leads round to Bleak House.
Yeah.
So they're listed on both sides. The St Peter's churchyard one is splendid, and that's got an arch in it as well. And the one that was the most difficult for me to try and get a photograph of was the St Stephen's College one, because obviously that's been completely redeveloped now. The old part of the building is now into apartments, which are very difficult to take a photograph of. But I was trying to work out. I looked at old aerial photographs. I went on to the St Stephen's College website, and they had wonderful sort of aerial photography of the school, so I could see where the wall was. So we were around trying to take photographs of the house and trying to work out the walls, and there was someone I actually know was bringing in his dustbin. Sort of got chatting, what you do. What was I doing? And I said, oh yeah, but there's this wall, this boundary wall, which is listed, and I don't know how to access it. He said, oh, it's down the side of my garden. So he invited us in for a drink and
have a look.
Take a picture of the wall.
Brilliant.
So that was lovely. I must admit, I had some really good chance encounters of people that were putting their dustbins out or bringing their dustbins in. I think I must have timed some of my photography with dustbin day. So that was really, really fortunate to do that. Yeah. So I got a picture of that.
The other one I wanted to ask you about, which I'm intrigued, the K6 telephone boxes.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Yes. So there's one in Reading Street.
Yeah.
One in Nelson Place, and the one on the harbour.
And these are the original...
Yeah, they're the K6s.
They're the red box, aren't they?
Yeah. There are different types of telephone boxes, and I have somewhere got an overview, because it's the relative proportions of the panes of glass. Some of them are sort of like a central panel and small panels. They're different, and if you're into that sort of thing, and I must admit I haven't made a specialist study of telephone boxes, but hey ho. You could look at it and say, oh, that's a K5, oh, that's a K4, that's whatever.
And they're classed as they're grade 2.
They are listed, yeah.
Now people just see them and think, oh, it's a bit like the one at Parliament Square. You can just go and take photographs and all that.
Yeah.
But they probably don't even realise that they're grade 2 listed. When they took a lot of them out, the Kent School of English bought 2 and put them in the grounds. Yeah. And of course the students used to love taking photographs next to typical telephone boxes. So we've got I was just intrigued when I and the other thing is the wash houses.
Oh,
now,
yes, the wash houses.
They used to be part of the village tour, I believe. Were they part of the village tour?
It would have been a long walk. There'd have been a very long walk from St Peters.
No, I'm thinking of the other ones up off Tippledore Lane. That's what I'm
Is that Blagdon Cottages?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, Blagdon Cottages are local heritage assets. Yeah.
So where are these?
Right, yeah.
See, I was confused there.
Ah, yes. They're listed. There's a little note in their entry which says listed for sort of social history interest or something. Right. Yes, it's one of these wonderfully quirky little bits of Broadstairs which people don't often look at. Church Square. Mm-hmm. So you know what Holy Trinity Church is? Yeah. Church Square. And these are tiny, tiny little houses, and they're so interesting. They're really quirky little houses, and opposite them, so you've got a big sort of courtyard area, and then down the side you've got these. And you said about the number of buildings, because several of those are in groups, like sort of 3 to 5 is one group, and then 6 to 9 is another. They're grouped. But on the other side, you've got the wash houses. Now, presumably, in the 19th century, there were lots and lots of groupings like this. But the temptation must have been so strong to demolish all the wash houses and put parking in there. I mean, I don't know what they do with them. Presumably, storage. But they are listed, and sort of took the photographs of them, and that is actually quite unusual because very few of those have survived. They're
quite. It's an unusual sort of property, isn't it?
It is, yes, but that's what I think is so good about historic England. It's not just the Buckingham Palaces and all the rest of it.
It's the little places.
It's the human scale,
which have a human story.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm very pleased. I think they did a very good job. I don't know whether
other thing I didn't realise, the Lord Holland follies.
Now
this intrigued me.
They are amazing
because they're very impressive buildings.
They are, yes. The fact that one person had the vision and the money.
I was about to say they would. 'Cause these would have cost money when they were built, wouldn't they?
Absolutely, and a lot of them were sort of.
Because what we're talking about is the Kingsgate Castle, the Port Regis, and also the Captain Digby,
and
which people just think of. Oh, it's a pub.
Yeah,
but they probably don't realise that there's a lot of history attached to it.
Absolutely, and they do have a very distinctive look. Back to the comment about Flint. Yes, that is the sort of the Kingsgate conservation area, the Lord Holland folly complex. Really, really interesting.
Was he a visionary of sort, or just a man who built property?
Yes, to build something like Kingsgate Castle for your servants and your horses.
It's quite impressive, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you look at it and you think that's impressive.
Yeah, I mean, when you're in the Captain Digby sitting out on the front having a drink and looking across Kingsgate Bay, and you think, wow, that's really...
I know.
And it's been made to look like a sort of medieval castle, hasn't it? He obviously, say visionary, but he obviously had quite a feeling about history because, the Port Regis complex was, a very historical sort of theme, or whether it's sort of real history or sort of semi-invented, embellished history is another question. But yes, that leads into something that happened as a sort of spin-off of doing this. Historic England, I mean, I get the impression they haven't got a huge staff and they've got massive numbers of properties in England to work on. So they rely on local knowledge, local input. So as I was I went to every entry, obviously to...
Did you visit every property? Or was...
But between the small team of us, we visited every property. Property. Visit in a very loose sense, because most of them you can take the photographs from street level without actually getting into the property. They're only sort of...
And is there liaison with the owners of the properties as well?
Well, in order to get onto other people's land, you had to have permission.
Of course.
The town clerk gave us the most wonderful letter of sort of explanation, because... if people sort of think, why is this person taking a photograph of
my house?
My house. Are they sort of, scoping it out for nefarious reasons? And this lovely letter written by the town clerk actually says that we have honourable intentions. So I'm going to frame... so do I. Yeah. It sounded quite sort of...
Honourable intentions.
Yeah,
That's
it sounds
phrase,
quite sort of Victorian, doesn't it? So yes, I legitimately had honourable intentions.
Of course.
It didn't actually, so to get into some of the properties, it was more difficult. You had to get permission. But a lot of them you could do from street level. But, of course, cars and scaffolding were the real problems. You think, oh, yeah, it's a lovely day, clear blue sky,
nice car.
Winter, dustbins in front of the door, cars parked in front of the door, scaffolding up. I mean, and don't get me wrong, I think it's really positive. If a building's got scaffolding up, you think, oh, great, they're taking an interest in it, they're maintaining it, they're refurbishing it. But it's not good when you're trying to take a photograph.
No.
And some of them, I think, keeping a sort of watchful eye on it. When's their scaffolding coming down? Ah, right, scaffolding's down. Right, take the camera with me.
Wow.
There's certainly one building that totally defeated me in Broadstairs. That I came to the conclusion that I was never going to get a photograph without cars parked outside, and so I just gave up. But if there were cars, obviously I edited out the number plates and tried to edit out the cars as much as possible. So that was for sort of privacy reasons. The owners that we managed to make contact with, either in advance or in passing when they're putting out their dustbins, were always really interested in the project and really helpful.
Because it's about their house.
Yes, it is. And the ones that we met love their houses.
Yeah.
And if they were happy to exchange email addresses, I would send them, the entry.
The entry.
Yeah.
That's quite nice, isn't it?
I mean, obviously quite a few of these are Thorley taverns, so I sent them and, got lovely replies. Oh, that's really interesting. And I sent the St Mary's Chapel one to Holy Trinity Church, and the church wardens wrote back and said, oh, that's really interesting, because obviously the chapel
of course.
Is a very significant building in Broadstairs.
So do you feel proud, honoured to have done this?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah?
Yes.
And do you have a favourite building?
That's a tricky one, isn't it?
Or do you have a few?
I have developed this great interest in flint building, so I do like that. But I do like the elegant, the sort of the Georgian ones, like Piermont obviously is a beautiful example, and Stone House and Holland House. So no, I wouldn't say I've got a favourite. I just love the whole range.
But you've been involved in creating a set of documents which are there for history.
Yes.
So that must be a lovely feeling that that I've been part of something actually which is very important to the heritage of Broadstairs.
I hope so. And if it can be used, for people doing research and following up things. But a sort of a spin-off, if you like. While I was dealing with the Historic England website, they have something called the Missing Pieces Project. So they rely on people on the ground sort of feeding up information to them. And so I registered and explained who I was and what I was doing, why I was interested in this. And I was quite shocked, actually, how many of our buildings had nothing, no photographs, no comments at all. So I'm actually still in the process of adding some. One which was really fascinated me was a house in Stone Road, which I'd known since the 80s because I used to live opposite. And I'd only ever known it as a private house. But its listing was the Kingdom Hall of the Jehovah's Witnesses. I thought, I don't understand this.
Is it still there?
Well, so I wrote to the administrator of the Kingdom Hall, the new building in St Peters Park Road, and I said, look, I'm really fascinated by this. To me, since the 80s, this has always been a private house. I've never seen it used in a sort of, a religious context. And I got a lovely email back, and they said, we've talked to older members of our congregation, and I think it was up till about 1964, the congregation was quite small, so they met in the garden shed of this house in Stone Road. But somehow, and I have no idea how this happened, it got listed as the Kingdom Hall of this address in Stone Road.
Wow.
So I wrote and asked for a minor amendment, because I asked for several minor amendments because it was very out of date. So I asked for a minor amendment, and they just put former Kingdom Hall. But also I put in a comment about why it was originally listed as being a Kingdom Hall. This idea of meeting in somebody's garden shed actually really quite fascinated me. Until they moved to Ramsgate, raised money, and then built their own property. Yeah. But a lot of it was minor amendments changing to former. So St Stephen's College, obviously no longer a school. Port Regis, no longer a school. So changing a lot to the former. So updating it and putting comments. So, for example, one of the listed buildings in Broadstairs has the 6th generation of that family living in it. And I actually know the owners, and I said, this is brilliant. This is absolutely brilliant. And so now on the website is this lovely little snippet of human history about the person that sort of founded the original business, and 6th generation living. You expect that in a stately home, don't you? The 12th Earl of whoever. Yeah. But this is an immigrant family, basically, who came over to Broadstairs, set up an extremely successful catering business, and still own the building, and 6th generation still living there. So that was a little snippet of human that I added as a comment. Yeah. So that's now on the website, and that's obviously for everybody to access. Yeah. And it rounds out the history of Broadstairs. So that's
I mean,
the project is over, but
it's an important project.
Well, I'm glad that you say that.
Because
we obviously thought that.
No, because it's the history. In fact, part of the history of the whole of Broadstairs, isn't it? But the thing is, you haven't stopped there, have you?
No.
Because you've got another project now, which I think is your own project, isn't it?
Yes. So many of my volunteering roles have led sort of organically one from the other. And through meeting owners of a property, I'm obviously talking very enthusiastically about local history. I then, through a very complicated chain, ended up being the temporary, I stress temporary, custodian of 152 Ordnance Survey maps, which are the large-scale one, mostly from the 1950s, some a little bit earlier, 1930s, a couple from right at the beginning of the 20th century. And I was thinking, well, 1950s, that's not really old, until I said that to somebody, and they said, well, actually, that's 20 years before I was born. And I thought, okay, right, okay, that's, I'm old. But if you think of the changes in East Kent in the past 60 years, I mean, it's absolutely huge, or 70 years. The changes are huge. So I've started sorting them. So basically Thanet, there's lots of Margate in its widest sense, from Cliftonville to Birchington, and Ramsgate. But there are 30 of Broadstairs, And that's really interesting because obviously Broadstairs was an urban council in its own right then, and the ward names were different, and areas which were fields, like where we are now, now all built up. And so my challenge is to catalogue them all in a fairly simple way.
Yeah.
I haven't got the means to digitise them because they're too big. I've only got an ordinary A4 scanner. Fortunately, Broadstairs Town Council Broadstairs Town Council is very, very good about its sense of responsibility in the history, which is absolutely right and proper and brilliant. And so they are all going to go to Broadstairs Town Council.
Oh, really?
They will be on display during Heritage Week. How else they're going to be managed, we haven't worked out yet. But so far, haven't made much progress. I've donated 2 out of 152. That's a pretty small proportion.
But you're on the way.
Shall we say I've created the spreadsheet that is going to be the cataloguing of the other 150. But the reason we wanted to finish this project was that when the sun is shining, I want to be out gardening in my own garden, gardening in the community gardens. I don't actually want to be sitting at my keyboard doing spreadsheets. Not my favourite thing. So I thought, right, give myself a break between sort of May and October, and then start doing other things.
The new project.
However,
you've already started.
Well, I have, and again, you said about it being an honour and a privilege. I felt really very honoured to be entrusted with these. Yeah. That somebody thought that I was, a responsible person to find the right homes for them. But again, I have met some really lovely people.
That is the nice thing, isn't it? That you get to meet nice people.
Absolutely. That people.
And sometimes the knowledge you impart to them about their properties, they actually might go, "Oh, I didn't know," and they tell you things, and you go, "Oh, I didn't know."
Yeah, it's a lifelong learning process. Which it's one of the big things about volunteering. To go back to where we started on this, you meet lovely people, you do interesting things, and you learn so much about areas of life that you probably never even thought about before.
Have you thought about doing a heritage walk all around Broadstairs?
I wrote one when I was at the Kent School of English.
Yeah.
I wrote a heritage walk. I used to love doing that.
Yeah.
And then I trained lots of members of staff to do it.
Yeah.
So that was a bit like sort of the village tour in the fact that it had sort of photographs and things. So we'd stop at various points and say, right, this is Preacher's Knoll. This is what it looked like in the middle of the 19th century.
Because walking tours are fantastic. I think anywhere you go, you should do a walking tour before you do anything.
Oh, absolutely.
And then you can go back.
Yeah, and look in more detail. You get the overview. Yeah. I think the St Peter's Village tour is amazing. I think that is so well done, and that's all volunteers.
Yeah.
120 volunteers to make to make that work.
Yeah.
And bringing social history to life in such a lovely way.
I guided on one the other day, and people are fascinated.
Yes.
And they love the vignettes that they've done.
Yes.
I don't want to give too much away
No.
because there's lots of people don't know what to expect.
No.
But they get history.
In a very lovely way.
And a very casual way.
Informal, but very human. These important.
And they get to see properties.
Oh yes.
So
yeah.
there's
No.
lots
I mean
to
something.
do.
Yeah. No. I did. when was that? 80s, 90s. I wrote a Broadstairs historic walk, just around sort of seafront, Shandell Square, up to Bleak House, up to Serene Place. The longer version went up to Crampton, but mainly we walked up as far as maybe Piermont, and then back down and ended up at Bleak House. And at that time, we used to actually do a visit to Bleak House as well. So I wrote one of those and then trained a lot of staff to do it. So yeah.
Can I just say thank you?
Oh, thank you.
It's been really interesting to learn new things about our lovely town. And the other thing that's nice, that if people are coming to visit and they do happen to listen to your podcast today, they may say, "Oh, we're going to look at that property." So you've actually given somebody an idea of something to look at when they're down, rather than have an ice cream and sit on the beach.
Well, the tourist,
but that's still good.
The tourist information kiosk has got, there are town trails, and the sort of the high tech version of the QR codes.
Yes.
Self-guided walks. Canterbury Christchurch have just launched one, I think, around Broadstairs. I think that's Dickens themed.
Oh, we got
Dickens
digital. Yeah, it's just come out. Last week or so.
Yes. So yes, there's a lot going on, which is brilliant.
There is.
Well, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to talk about something that I'm obviously
got a
really passionate about. Yeah.
No, Sue, thank you very much for today. And if anybody wants to find out about when this digital register is available, is it just a case of keep checking the website to see when it becomes available for them to view?
I'm not sure where that is at the moment.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd need to talk to the
town. But it will happen.
It will happen.
Yeah.
It definitely will happen.
Yeah.
And I say, I'm hoping that it will be on the town council, the district council, and the county council website. So it should be. And
English Heritage? Would they be able to access it?
No, they
or is theirs a totally separate entity?
Yeah.
That's fair enough.
I think it would totally overload their system if every town and village uploaded something. Yeah. People, I will probably slightly modify the profile that I've got on the Historic England website to cross-reference it when it goes live.
I see, yeah.
So, at the moment it just said I'm a member of a small team of Broadstairs Society, and together we produce this register. Yeah. The register is available online and give the reference. That's hopefully, when we progress to that. So.
Just to finish, why is Broadstairs so special?
Oh, well, as I said, the people. As comes out in your podcast, the enthusiasm of people, the energy, the commitment of people, the wonderful coastline, brilliant coastline, and the buildings. So I think as a small town, it's brilliant, and it punches above its weight.
Thank you for listening to Broadstairs Live today. You can follow us on various social media platforms and also podcast platforms. Thank you again.